Hi guys, my name's Link from Gardening Express, and today I want to talk to you guys about the benefits of autumn planting. Now, the weather's gotten colder, the days are getting darker, and it's a little bit miserable. And I'm sure, like everyone, most people's gardens are kind of looking like this. I'm in my garden today, and it needs a bit of work. There's no shame in it. You know, the last of the summer colour is gone, we're feeling a little bit down, and this is the perfect time, believe it or not, to start pre-planning for spring next year. What's great about planting now is that come spring you can have 5 to 6 months of continuous flowering in your garden. And this all comes down to bulbs. Now, bulbs need a cold period before they can flower, which is why planting in the autumn, which is between October to the first frost, which is usually beginning of December, allows the bulbs to settle in, grow, experience that cold period, and then come out of hibernation ready to plant in spring. Now, spring bulbs tend to have 3 phases, and they'll flower in these 3 phases depending on what type of bulb you plant. That will be early, mid, and late spring. And it's really important that you get a great choice of bulbs in this time, because what will allow you to do that by planting sort of early, mid and late bulbs will allow you to have this continual flowering throughout the whole season, which again, like I said, is about 5 to 6 months. Now, early bulbs are flowers like crocus, snowdrops and miniature daffodils. These bulbs prefer the colder seasons, so that's talking sort of February to March. Now, they will usually be the first flower. There are more smaller varieties, slightly more delicate. For instance, a crocus is a shorter flower, but these come in beautiful purples, blue tones, sometimes white and yellow as well. And they're really, really great because they're a first flush of pop of colour in your garden. Snowdrops are really delicate and they're kind of very whimsical to the way I feel about them. They always remind me of sort of like fairy gardens, which is really, really beautiful. And miniature daffodils are a really good way of having that, you know, bright yellow colours, those whites and those oranges, just in the first stages of spring. Now, mid-spring is when you can have your classic daffodils. Now, daffodils are great because I think a lot of people associate them with the yellow and the red trumpets, but actually daffodils come in a myriad of varieties. I'm talking white and orange. You can have fluffy varieties, even sometimes green. So don't sleep on the daffodil. There are lots of different varieties that can give a lot of shape, texture and colour to your garden rather than just the traditional yellow and orange trumpet varieties. You can also have hyacinths. Hyacinths again are a medium-sized flower. They bloom in mid-spring, which is usually between March to April, and these are beautiful beehive almost shaped flowers with star-shaped blossoms around them, and they've got this brilliant smell. I mean, they're so sweet and earthy, and it will really fill your garden with fragrance as well as colour. Now, these bulbs tend to come in pastel shades to sort of deep purples and blues and fuchsia pinks. They've got a really good variety of colour, so it will suit any garden particularly that you have or any styling you have in mind. And they will be really, really good to bring that fragrance to your garden in spring. Now for another mid-spring variety is probably tulips. They're a really common flower that you would use for spring bulbs. Now, when we talk about mid-spring bulbs, the bulbs that you're looking for in terms of tulips are actually early variety. So I know I'm saying mid-spring and they are flowering in mid-spring, but for tulips they will be an early variety. Now, the brilliant thing about tulips is their versatility. Tulips have so many different colours and textures and shapes that you can use in your garden to fit whatever style you'd like. So if you're really wanting to be creative, tulips are definitely the flower that you want to have. They're also a little bit taller than the flowers I've mentioned previously, which means that you're starting to get a little bit of height in your garden. But they're a perfect experimental garden styling flower because there's so many of them. There's such a large variety. It's unbelievable. If there's a colour or a shape or a type of flower that you want, then a tulip is there's probably going to be a variety of tulip there for you, which is fantastic. Now we're talking towards the later varieties. So we're looking at maybe April to May. Now, you want to be looking at late tulips now. So we're in late spring, we need later flowering tulips. Again, there's so many varieties. You've got Queen of Nights, parrot varieties. These are frilly and fluffy. You've also got double late blooming as well. They're fantastic. They're more romantic and peony style blooms. You've also got alliums. Now alliums are a really, really great and tall flower. So like I said before when I was talking about height, you've got your tulips that are adding a little bit more height than your shorter varieties of flower. But then alliums can grow very, very tall, and they've got these beautiful globe style sort of heads that have lots of little flowers on them, and they're fantastic because they're a great way to lead you into your summer garden, because these will flower from anywhere from in April to June, really into summer. Which allows you to create your create the footing of your summer garden as well, which is fantastic. And again, they're very architectural, they suit a lot of different environments, and they come in sort of reds and purples and whites. Really, really fantastic flowers. So when deciding what you're going to do for your spring garden in autumn, you've really got to think about what kind of combinations you want to have and really understand when your flowers are going to flower, because by doing so you can allow yourself to have 5 months of flowering and colour and beauty and fragrance in your garden, really without even touching it. So it's a fantastic way to pre-plan the garden. So it's really important to do your research, make sure that you get a good combination of colour, height and blooming time to allow you to get that sort of long season with lots of different appeal, lots of different layers. Are we talking colour, texture, shape? There's things really to consider about what you would like in your garden. And it really, I'll tell you something, it stops you getting garden envy come spring because you're pre-prepared for it. So I know the weather's not great right now and it's not a lot of fun. I mean, it's cold, it's damp, it's dark, there's lots of leaves everywhere, you've got to clean up before you start anything. But it's do it now, forget about it, spend the next couple of winter months focusing on adding a little bit of winter colour, or just generally tending to your garden and keeping it tidy, and come spring you won't have to lift a finger. Your garden will just bloom for you in abundance, and it's really, really beautiful. It's a really good way to cheer yourself up after a long winter. Now another key thing to consider is perennial and annual bulbs. Now perennials will return year after year. They do diminish slightly year after year depending on the conditions and how you tend to them, but it allows you to sort of not necessarily focus too much on replanting. Whereas annual bulbs such as tulips most tulips do need to be replanted each year. Annual bulbs can bloom year after year. However, again, like I said, the quality and the level of blooming will diminish. So it is much better to plant these annually as opposed to the perennial bulb like a daffodil or even sometimes an iris. So if you want to bypass garden envy this spring, then you need to start planting now. You can check out our website at gardenexpress.co.uk for lots of different bulbs and varieties that you can get your hands on and start planting. So happy gardening!